So this is an extremely faithful, as people that have seen the movie from last year know that the people involved in this, including the credited writers, are one of the credited writers for the book. Like Winnie Holtzman is one of the screenwriters for the movie also. So they knew that they have a wide Wicked fan base that will turn out for this. This is the second highest grossing like musical production that's ever taken to Broadway. And they made sure that everything was in there to the point where they had to divide it into two movies. Yeah. And so Wicked is not like a flawless stage production. It is extremely like monetarily successful, as I mentioned, and it has its fans, but it's not the most perfect thing that's ever been put to stage.
Are you a fan of stage plays and musicals?
Oh, what a good question, interviewer. I'm intrigued. And I'm going to give you a little bit more than Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo are doing on the press tour. And I'm going to, open my mouth and answer the question because I love stage and I love the quirky people that are attracted to theater productions. Yeah. I was a theater people. My friends were theater people through high school and my first year of college when I was a communications major before I came out to Utah. Yeah. Communications at that college just smashed together. If you wanted to be a journalist, a radio person, me, sports reporter, also kind of me, and the theater department was all the same, just communication arts. And so I took a mandated stage production class where I learned like what the normal height of stairs is so that people don't trip and how to light a theater production. So like I have some audio, like I've ran audio for stage stuff in my background, but also I just happen to be the kind of choir band theater nerd from high school that likes to sing Wicked on any given day, even before there was a movie version.
Yeah, I mean, I remember growing up, my parents were not so much into this, so we didn't get much exposure growing up. Yeah. But getting to college and meeting and getting to know more of these theatery kids, and also just college having so many productions on campus for free or $5 or whatever, I went to everything. And at least for me, it like opened up a whole other world of like, oh, I love movies. This is different, but it's also good.
We happened to be at college during, I think, the greatest like awareness of theater in the general population of all time, which was Lin-Manuel Miranda's Hamilton. So even people that were anti-theater were pro Hamilton when that came out. That had 4-quadrant ratings. And then Disney Plus just puts out the like just a video version of the stage production on a 4th of July. And, even people that are, like I said, anti-theater have an appreciation for Hamilton, and that opens the door. And now it's like, hey, there's like some other stuff out here.
Yeah. Because I remember when the Wicked play musical first started coming around, because it premiered 2003.
Yep.
I want to say it took to the road, or I first heard about it when I lived in North Carolina. So like 2008, 2009, maybe it was coming through. All the people in my church, all the little women from my church were all going to go see it together. They were driving down to Charlotte or whatever else. And it was becoming a thing. But I just kind of remember like the poster being so iconic and not knowing a thing about it. I was like, okay, who wants to know about the witch really? The witches, why is their story great? I finally saw the play in 2016 and was like, okay, I get it. Not my favorite, but I do get it. It's fantastic. Okay.
Well, okay. So you've seen the production. Let's talk a little bit about the nitty-gritty of Wicked and the fact that this is a 2-part adaptation. So from your memories of Wicked, which half of the play did you enjoy more? Which half of the play had the better songs? Which half of the play? So this is an extremely faithful, as people that have seen the movie from last year know that the people involved in this, including the credited writers, are one of the credited writers for the book. Like Winnie Holtzman is one of the screenwriters for the movie also. So they knew that they have a wide Wicked fan base that will turn out for this. This is the second highest grossing like musical production that's ever taken to Broadway, behind only The Lion King, which also already had a built-in fan base and came after the movie version. This went the other direction. This is stage play, and then they turned it into a movie, and they made sure that everything was in there to the point where they had to divide it into two movies. Yeah. And so Wicked is not like a flawless stage production. It is extremely like monetarily successful, as I mentioned, and it has its fans, but it's not the most perfect thing that's ever been put to stage. So the first half, which is good in the original, was a pretty good movie. The second
Yeah.
half, they also were extremely faithful in adapting to its detriment.
I was a little worried about this, as I think most people who'd seen the play or musical were. Just like you said, all the best music was the first half, all the best storylines. I think I fell asleep during part of the second half. I understand what the story was,
Yeah.
but it was just kind of okay, we finished it. But when the curtain goes down from the first half, you're still riding high.
Defying, riding high,
Defying
defying
gravity.
gravity. Yeah.
So now you having seen the second half, I've already looked at some of the Rotten Tomatoes and the reviews and whatever else. I don't want to sit here and be an aggregator just spitting out numbers. It looks like it's similar but a little less than the first one at the moment for audiences. Critics, much less so. The critics are saying no, not as good as the first one. For you, knowing you were going to have this dip and kind of expecting it, did it make it easier to watch the second one, or did it make it kind of like, oh, I wish it would have
Absolutely.
been better?
It was so good. So it was exactly what I expected that it would be. It did not exceed those expectations. It did
Okay.
not take any liberties. It did not make the original source material any better. But you can tell these were filmed back to back. The fact that the first one got Oscar buzz for production design and costume, and, you know, Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo being BFFs on screen, like that is all still here in the second half. This was one of those two-parters that was in its production filmed back to back. So you can tell all of that quality is still exactly there. The only problem with this second half movie is the problems that existed in the second half of the stage production. And that is like from a story and logic and just, yeah, like I said, quality of songs. It's not quite as pump you up and get excited as the first one is, because the first one's fun. The second half, like, just has a natural storytelling dip of, okay, now she is going to be the Wicked Witch of the West. Let's see the consequences of that.
And there are a handful of changes from the stage musical, from what I'd seen. A little Wikipedia dive. Some of the scenes being changed with Yellow Brick Road, apparently, and we're gonna say spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. Skip forward 1 minute if you don't want the spoiler alert. We get more of Dorothy. Is that right?
Yeah. So
Okay.
everyone likes to craft a letterboxd review nowadays, and I think I get it. I got a pretty good one on this.
Ooh.
Is that they gave Dorothy the Michael Jordan in Air treatment, where
Okay.
we see a lot of her and we never see her face. Like, it's always she's going on and it's in the background. But like, we knew, like, so again, the spoilers.
Yeah.
In the stage production, we now start to like overlap in time with when Dorothy comes to Oz, because big spoilers if you have not are not familiar with the source material, the Tin Man and the Scarecrow and the Cowardly Lion are all characters that are set up in the first half of this play. Like, we see them again in the second half and we see how they came to be. And again, in the original, that's not really done very seamlessly. Let's say, like, they take a lot of liberties, and this is what happens when there's so many different versions of something, and especially when the thing that it's adjacent to is so familiar. The Wizard of Oz might be the most seen movie among Americans. Like, people, and even if you haven't seen it, you've seen some TV show doing their spin on the Wizard of Oz. The Wizard of Oz might be the most familiar piece of American text. Is Frank Lloyd Baum even American, or is he British? But like, anyway, the most familiar piece of English text that we have in our media. And so when you make deviations, or you like kind of force feed or shoehorn connections in to something that people, some take like really seriously and others just are really familiar with, it's kind of tough to justify. But also, there's a movie version and there's books with a lot of sequels, and Wicked itself, the movie, is based on a stage adaptation, which is very loosely based on a book that was like a weird Life and Times, spin-off adaptation of the many books and movies that came before it. Like, we are so many degrees of separation away that it's okay to have a different interpretation of what these characters are. But if you're a really like The Wizard of Oz from 1939 is a core text in my life, we see, I mean, obviously we see a different angle of the Wicked Witch, but we see a different angle for the Wizard. We see a different angle for Scarecrow and Tin Man, and the way that those are connecting, yeah, it doesn't like seamlessly go into what we set up with the original movie.
So you're saying that the 2025 second half of the adaptation of the play, of the adaptation of the book, of the fanfic, of the movie and books
Yeah.
doesn't refer back to the 1930s?
Not
Okay, which is,
not
you know what?
religiously.
Here come the cinema sins. No, I think I'm okay with that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that is
Ding, that's not what the Scarecrow would have done. Well, look,
false,
we're
actually.
okay with that.
Well, it's good at least they keep to telling their story rather than being so committed to connecting every single piece to the oldest
Right.
story there.
And yet, like where they try to connect it to Dorothy and her thing, even if you're able to divorce yourself a little bit from like the sanctity of 1939, it still is like the weakest part of the stage adaptation. And now this movie is trying to justify like why Bach Woodsman is the Tin Woodsman and like why Elphaba is using her magic.
Yeah.
And like that's it still doesn't like hold up great. But again, this movie that we're reviewing is an extremely faithful adaptation. They threw in a couple extra, like we've beefed up a 3 hour or 3.5 hour stage runtime into a now 5.5 hour ish combined between two movies thing.
Yeah.
So we've added some stuff and we've added like some time to be with these characters and we've added a song or two. But it's mostly just like following the original source material.
Which
For better or for worse.
could be
For
worse.
good or for bad.
Oh my gosh, for good or for bad. Now, I do remember the first one. I think Ariana Grande had a few shining moments, but she wasn't as important, it didn't feel, to the movie. Does she have more of a role in this one, or is it pretty
She
well
does.
equal?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's interesting. So Cynthia Erivo is being Oscar shoehorned into lead actress, and then Ariana Grande is going to be supporting actress. Really, this is one of those things where they both probably should be supporting. But also in the second half, Ariana Grande has kind of more to do. She might have more screen time, even though the story is still about Wicked. It's the Wicked Witch of the West.
Yeah.
Ariana Grande is in it quite a lot. And so if you were a fan of Ariana Grande's just otherworldly ability to not only impersonate, but also like evoke and just make her own this character that you could, there's times where you can tell she's like doing a Kristen Chenoweth, but in such a good way. Ariana Grande, truly to me, in our many, many worlds of adaptations nowadays, has performed the best I have ever seen when like impersonating without making it an impersonation or without making it like a joke.
Wow.
But also making it her own, but also reminding you ever so often, like, this is what Kristen Chenoweth sounds like, but this is what Ariana Grande is going to sound like. All of those SNL skits and YouTube things that you can go to of Ariana Grande, like, impersonating someone else singing is put on display so beautifully. She is such a good actress in addition to being one of the most talented singers that we have on earth right now. And all of that being said, like Cynthia Erivo doesn't get left in the dust either because she can stand up and sing Defying Gravity, which is one of the most challenging songs that we have in our like music person arsenal.
Yeah.
And make it her own with an extra little run in there. And For Good in this one is like it's like a tear down, but it is also a big sexy song that you get to end the whole thing with. And Cynthia Erivo gets it. The performances of those two, like for a musical audience, are fantastic. Would I vote for them probably for best actress or supporting actress in the actual Oscars with like other more real movies out there? Probably not. But like for musical fans, they are not the thing disappointing here.
It's too bad the Tonys, not that they ever would, but it's too bad there's not something in the Tonys for movies and there's not something in the Oscars for musicals. If there were enough to cross over on both sides.
Golden
right?
Globes, it's musical or comedy is like the other category that they do. And guess what? Wicked won a lot of Golden Globes last year.
Yeah.
And Wicked Part 2 will probably win a lot this year.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they say they had the same budget, 150 million estimated both. No changes there, right?
The
No.
marketing budget might be 200 million for this one. Have you gone anywhere and not seen a Wicked tie-in?
Okay, I was going to say, I was thinking the marketing for the second one, it's way less than the first one.
I I mean, I have
Tell me
seen it.
more.
I have seen it ever. I mean, this might just be anecdotal, but even at our screener where we don't get previews, we
Yeah.
got two commercial. We got a commercial for Xfinity and their Jeff Goldblum tie-in, and we got a commercial for something else and its Wicked thing. I turn on my Roku TV and it's Wicked themed, pink, half green. Wicked, Wicked is marketing a lot.
I was gonna say, so there's been a couple different articles talking about why you've seen way less Wicked for Good press and certain types of marketing. I think last time they were pushing a lot more like Cynthia and Ariana
And
were
Ariana doing their
everywhere.
interviews because they
All
were
their
holding
press interviews,
space
as well as just like
for that.
random marketing stunts where it was like, why the hell? Especially in LA, there was tons of random
Yeah.
marketing stunts where you're like, why the hell are they doing this? Whereas, to your point, this time they've really gone more of the
Dancing with
social
the Stars had a
digital
Wicked
partnership.
night. Xfinity has
Yeah.
a Wicked tie-in commercial, and all these little brands are also Wicked. Like I don't know, some cleaning product I'm pretty sure was like had a Wicked theme
Clorox
to
for
their
good, baby.
commercial that they're putting out. Yeah,
Okay, that makes sense. So yeah, they've really shifted more towards brand partnership, less towards the press and the stars being front and center everywhere. Which makes me wonder,
hmm
do we think that they're like less interested about the Oscar situation? Do we think that they're like, we've got our goodwill from the people we need it from, just push the movie out into the partnerships, make our money with Comcast and whoever else they're trying to push?
it's also just an interesting study because I think brands and movies have been going to brands for as long as McDonald's has been making toys, right? Like this is
Yeah.
not a new thing.
Yeah.
I anecdotally think I have seen more of these just like the Wicked version of freaking toilet paper or something now
Yeah.
than I had ever seen before. And in a world of affiliate marketing and the modern way that social media does marketing and just going to some social media star and having them do your commercial for them.
Yeah.
This is a good study on if this works out for Wicked. And there's so many conflating things because this movie is not as good as the first one, but also it's the finale to the first one. So like maybe it'll get less, but maybe it'll get more because more people turn out for the second one. They also specifically, again, this is a little titling thing that gets under my bugaboo, but you called the first one Wicked Part 1,
Yeah.
which normally you don't want to do because that makes people think, oh, there's going to be a part 2. I don't need to go see part 1. But Wicked was such a
Mhm.
phenomenon that people did. But now you've called this one Wicked for Good instead of calling it part 2 or calling it like Wicked the finale or like making sure people know, hey, this is the second one. Go see this. One, you're not consistent because it didn't go
Yeah.
part 1, part 2, or you didn't call the first one Wicked Unlimited or Wicked Defying Gravity, and this one's Wicked for Good. Like,
Yeah.
so you're not consistent, and so that bugs me. But also, you're not really banking in and taking advantage of the fact that this is your finale, so more people should show up. So anyway, box office numbers will be what they are, but
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see what other studios take from the way that Wicked is doing its many different marketing stunts.
Yeah, there was a Variety article last week in which they talked about this marketing campaign is way more about products, way less about press.
Yeah.
And they're trying to see if they scale back all the press and the super expensive add-ons, will everything else pay off to get people back to theaters? And to your point, it was a successful musical. The first one did just short of what, $1 billion now? Maybe it was like 700 or $800 million
It
worldwide.
was like it was 432 domestic, and then it
432
was
domestic, yeah.
700 or 800 worldwide. Yeah.
Which, if I heard right the other day, it was like still one of the best domestic grossers in years, if not.
It was
Anyways,
number 3 last year domestically.
okay,
Mhm.
last year three. So yeah, I guess to your point, they've given this $112 million expected opening weekend box office. That's big. That's bigger than the first one. I'm
Mhm.
interested to see if that is the case. I mean, I'm going to see it Friday night, so okay. You know, do you see
So
this
so
as
really it's all that marketing. The marketing worked on Tristan. Tristan turned on his Roku TV, saw,
That's
"Hey,
true.
wait, there's another Wicked? I got to get tickets for this sucker."
That's me. I'm the guy who sees the Roku TV ad and goes, "That's a movie?" No.
Someone's got to tell you.
Am I going to get the special popcorn bucket at AMC? We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Who knows? Do you see this as moving the needle for other musicals? Do you see this as winning a bunch of Oscars? Is this going to kickstart a brand new Wizard of Oz coming about? What's the impact of Wicked for Good?
Well, like unfortunately, when it comes down to it, the critics are going to say what they say, and I guess I am one of them too. Is that
Yeah.
if anything does come of this, it's probably not because of Wicked for Good, because Wicked for Good is the worse half. And
Yeah.
so again, we'll see if the first one just has so much. In order to get to 432 million, you got to get a lot of repeat viewers, right? Greatest Showman was one of the top earners at the box office through like half of the next year because people went back and back and back to sing the songs over and again. And the first half had those good songs that people wanted to sing over and over again. And the
Yeah.
second half just does not have the familiarity. There are some good songs in there, but if I had to list the 5 most popular for normies songs of the Wicked musical, 4 at least of them are from the first half and maybe all 5. Like it's just how it is.
Yeah.
And so maybe like depending on how this performs, the next great musical that's adapted into a movie might have to go back to the drawing board and say, hey, maybe we got to just figure out what to cut and turn this into one movie. We can't do the split at intermission because you know what? This is not like a uniquely Wicked problem that the second half of a Broadway play is weaker than the first half. It's it is a trend actually.
It almost makes you wish that we had some mad lad like Kevin Costner who just would shoot these things back to back and release them within 6 months of each other. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
just give us Matrix Revolutions and Reloaded or
And
whatever
this is the
else.
closest that we're feasibly gonna get to this. The fact that they
Yeah.
did shoot them back to back and it's a year away from each other, cool. But also, and again, Wicked fans are ravenous, and so the fact that they didn't have to cut anything and did make it into 2 movies means that they will show up, and musical fans are getting what they want, and that's really cool. Like a lot of times, the movie industry squashes this kind of thing, and
Yeah.
so we're getting like a full Wicked adaptation, and that's fun. But it probably didn't need it, and from like a movie industry standpoint, and not every musical does need it. Like Phantom of the Opera is another one of the most successful Broadway performances of all time, and the
Yeah.
movie that we have is just one movie. Les Mis
Yeah.
was just one movie. It was quite a long movie, and it got a lot of Oscar consideration. The fact that it took us this long to actually get Wicked is interesting, and the fact that it got turned into 2 movies is kind of a function of where we're at in Hollywood right now. And so, heck, if it does work, Hades Town or whatever the next like musical that isn't a movie yet will probably go this direction as long as Wicked for Good doesn't totally bomb, and I cannot imagine that happening.
Yeah. I did have to look it up because we're talking about. I'm like, what else is already on the slate? You ready for this? I don't think you are.
No.
Spamalot has been announced.
Oh, goodness.
Paramount. But that said, with Paramount changing hands, who knows about that one? So, just going to say the ones that I like really recognize. Spamalot, we have The King and I, which we've already had before, right?
Yes, that's
Again,
a movie and a musical, and now a movie. Okay.
another Paramount one. So, again, up in the air. John Chu, after Wicked, agreed to direct a film adaptation of Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat.
That makes perfect sense. That is your
Amazon Studios.
direct Wicked result. Yeah.
Yes. How about Guys and Dolls? Rob Marshall's going to direct an upcoming Guys and Dolls musical. Girl from the North Country. I remember this being on Broadway. I never got to go see it.
Sure.
About Bob Dylan with the music of Bob. Not about Bob Dylan. The music of Bob Dylan, directed by Connor McPherson, did the screenplay as well.
One of the bigger jukebox musicals. Yeah.
Yeah, they love a good jukebox musical. Everything else I didn't fully recognize. Bear, a pop opera, Be More Chill, the Carole King musical. Anyways, Guys and Dolls, there's a few, but you haven't seen every musical that's been big in Broadway and the West End suddenly get an adaptation deal. So I will say it looks like they're at least either waiting a little longer and they're going to continue to keep things on Broadway and the West End and make their money there before just adapting. But we do see a couple already kind of in the works.
The last time that there was a direct line between a director that got Oscar consideration and his follow up was when Tom Hooper was the director of Les Mis, and then he was pinned for Cats, which was the at the time longest running Broadway musical. So
And
cross
look at
your
how
fingers
that
for
went.
Mr. John Chu that his second effort goes a little bit better than that.
Wow. Yeah, let's hope. Let's hope for his sake and the rest of ours. Okay, so you were a fan for everyone who's a fan of Wicked and who's just a fan of movies and or musicals.
Certainly.
Go see Wicked for Good. Out today.
Out today. Go
Out
check it
today.
out. For good.
Thanks again, Cole, for coming on the pod, for doing a little research, going on this movie for us. Tell us one last thing before we wrap up. For the end of the year, what are the movies you're most excited to see?
I still haven't gotten to see Frankenstein yet. So Frankenstein comes out after October for me, which means I need a little bit of a break from my monsters and my spooks.
Yep.
But Guillermo del Toro made a Frankenstein movie, and I will not be ending 2025 without seeing it.
Well, that's a great goal, and you got some time, and luckily it's always in your home theaters.
And so that's a Netflix thing. And also we got news that there's production started, or like ideas starting for the fourth Knives Out with Ryan Johnson and Daniel Craig. The third one is coming out on Netflix in December also.
Well, let's wrap it up there. Until next week, watch good movies in TV and go see Wicked for Good in theaters now.